I'm going to get so insulted this entire video.
Roasted.
Hi, welcome back. Ben is here today. We are going to go through, what are we going through? We're going to go through basketball
NBA
logos. I wanted to do more of a branding thing, but then realized how many different branding items there are for basketball legacy teams. So we're going to stick to the logos. And Ben is here because I have absolutely no knowledge of NBA basketball teams at all. Zero knowledge. We did a large preparation. But this is just a fun video and Ben wanted to be included, and this is just a great a great run through of branding and logos for NBA teams. Atlanta Hawks. Oh, it sucks to start with a good one because this is one of the best ones out of all of them. And I think it's really simple. I like the stamp that it is in instead of a lot of them have they're just really inconsistent with their sizing.
I like how the white kind of blends in with this first circle.
Yeah.
The white of that head kind of rolls into that first circle, so it's kind of like a negative image of itself.
1 out of 10 Atlanta Hawks.
I need others to compare it to first, but right now it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say
maybe
9
eight,
too.
maybe 8
I'd say 9.
10.
It's gonna get worse. It's only gonna go downhill from here. Boston Celtics.
Pretty sure you don't like it.
I mean, it just looks very legacy to me.
In general, it's okay. There's a lot about the Boston Celtics franchise, so good for so long. That it's just become iconic just because of the team.
Didn't they used to have just the clover?
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is
so uninterested by this.
I don't see buying a hat with this logo on it.
Yeah. Cool. Let me buy another thing with a character on it that I'm just not interested in.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 6 out of 10 next.
Oh, I was gonna say 5.
Okay.
Yeah, we're relatively uninterested by this. Brooklyn Nets.
Don't hate it. I don't like the B in the basketball.
Yeah, but it's 100% better than the Celtics.
They could have somehow incorporated that B a little bit better into the basketball. It just kind of seems unfinished around the B.
Well, it feels so a lot of the NBA logos, I feel like they're just so we do basketball. Put a basketball in there. So annoying and typical.
They try to do a simple, modern, and I think they just kind of screwed it up. Would not buy anything with a Nets on it. But it's not terrible. No. It's just a shield. Yeah. It could be used, it could be scaled, it's black and white. I appreciate that. You can invert it really easily. Mm-hmm. It's just nothing to write home about. So number 4. I was gonna say 6. But I don't have any feelings toward it. I think it's not. I just think it's not very well done.
It's not memorable. I'm not here for it. Charlotte Hornets. Just a long sigh for this.
I think they used to have a much better logo. This seems just like a modern generic logo. They've kind of muted the colors down a bit. Their colors just used to have a little bit more pop.
I have so many opinions about this logo. A lot.
What do you think about the stinger?
I'm actually fine with that. I like that it's a little bit more aggressive, but it's just so typical athletic.
I think had they
design,
because everything about the Hornet itself is I don't know why they made the stinger white.
I just think it's supposed to stand out from the wings and the eyes because if you made that all not have white in it, then it's just so top heavy. Hate the font. I hate all the points on it. I hate this extra additional shadow that goes around it. It's just so typically athletic. It's something that you would see on anything. It almost looks like a high school logo. Yeah. Because it's so pointed and sharp but rounded in weird spots, on this Charlotte. I just hate this, that I understand is the Hornet, and it's nice, and it gives kind of an extra edge.
I agree with you. We're not fighting on the font.
But this top is bad.
The way I describe it is just that font has been used in so many just generic teams. Like you said, it could be a high school font, could be a college team font.
Athletic teams.
It's just nobody knew what else to use, so they went with that.
First of all, would you buy anything with this on it?
With that on it? No.
Because you feel like you're part of a high school basketball team.
Number 5 or 6.
Also give it a 5 because it's forgettable. It's forgettable. We're moving on. Oh my God.
Love it.
Chicago Bulls.
Love the Chicago Bulls.
I hate it. I hate it with my entire heart. In your defense, I feel like this is acceptable 90s logo. It's just very like, we did the thing. This is what we are. We're not trying to pretend we're a sports team. This is what we want, so we used it. Just never been updated, never anything. I just feel like it's so 90s. It's 2021 now.
The icon itself of the Bulls, I love it because it's iconic. It reminds me of the 90s team. I'm happy that they haven't changed anything.
This looks like someone drew it in class and then used it as a logo. The athletic design has really heavy lines and really like harsh points, and you don't have to make it as cliche as the Charlotte Hornets, but like you could thicken up these outside lines and make it not look like someone's basement tattoo. It's just like undefined. Like I really like his brow and everything because it gives some kind of like depth and heaviness to it.
Well, it makes
but
the
like
eyes look angrier. Like...
Yeah, and a lot of like I had to learn when I was going through my illustrations that things look better when they have like a really heavy side that's like a really heavy block, and that's what they do for a lot of these. Like there's a lot of really heavy pieces in here that like make it a little bit more dynamic. And just to like put these two next to each other, like Charlotte and Bulls, it's just like, I don't know, it just feels really day and night. Like this feels amateur to me. This is like the first logo your girl ever drew. Yeah.
It looks very like a kid drew it.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
I like the simplicity of it. I think that you could just like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, this looks like a kid drew it and like didn't take it into any additional digital programs.
Right. Yeah, I think
Do you know what I mean?
I think they could spruce it up.
You could just like make it a little bit more professional, like elevate it a tiny bit just by like deepening some lines and making things a little bit heavier and like actually adding the name in there.
Modernize it a bit, but then I probably hate it.
Well, not modernize it to a point where people don't like it anymore.
Right.
Like, that's not what I mean. Like, that's what they did with the Charlotte Hornets, and now you don't like it anymore. I know you'd buy something with this on it.
Yes.
So, that's not even a question. But what's your number? This is going to be insulting for you. I think I hate it. I think I hate it the most.
I'm going to say an 8.
Even after the discussion of what could be improved?
We can agree to disagree.
Do you want to know my number?
3.
No.
2?
No.
4?
Give it a 1. It's the worst out of all of them. Cleveland Cavaliers.
Hate it. Always have.
I could also do without this stupid University C. Hey guys, are you a university?
This is another like, we made this in the 2000s generic logo. There's a lot going on.
I just want to know like who is being commissioned to do
What
this.
is a Cavalier anyways?
Oh, big.
Is that the meaning you have in mind?
Cavalier to me is like the guys on the horses like that probably went out and slaughtered Indians. Probably not good guys. Don't need to spend much time on this one. I don't like it. I wouldn't buy it. I'm gonna give it a 3.
Dallas Mavericks.
I actually like the horse.
I do really like this one. I love the colors.
I don't like the font.
I don't want to say I don't mind it, but like there's something about this that isn't as bad. This is very tap out, like this shape.
Yeah.
And the letters. Well, but I think it would be so nice, like, if you just would remove this horse with the ball. Like, that's such a nice, like, even without the Dallas. The colors. Maybe the colors are more calming to me. Your eye follows around the horse, and then it comes down and, like, follows the Mavericks across.
Lose the shield. Lose this thing. Like, have it be just the circular logo part.
I do think there's too many things going on. You're right. Like, this shape with the shield and the circle, like, hey, that's too many shapes. Would you wear this on something?
No. I want to like give this 2 separate grades. Like as a whole, 6. Now this part, I give like a 8 or a 9.
Denver Nuggets.
You like it because it's got mustard yellow in it. It's very modern.
I do like how modern it is. It's not even so much the yellow that's in there. It's just like the simplicity of it. It's in the way that they curve around the circle. The mountains are split down the front, and even the basketball is very like quartered. It feels very like hipster logo design. There's a lot of like crossing and just objects separated from each other, which I don't totally hate. I think it's interesting for an athletic field, but I am not a huge fan of this maroon bar. Like I understand that's their color, but like it adds a 4th color, which I don't like, and I want it to be like almost as monochrome as possible. And also it'll
Smells
save you money on
minimalist.
printing because then you don't have to print a fourth color. You only have to print 3 colors.
Hey, NBA teams, hire Chanel. She'll save you money.
Would you wear this?
Yes, I would wear this.
What's the number that you give it?
8 or a 9.
I was going to say 8.
Detroit basketball.
We had a large conversation about this earlier. We've discussed how it has been pulled from the older, more legacy logo. So this is like an adapted version, a modern version from that.
And really all they did was change the font.
So they did these like upper lines on the basketball. They did round them and move them out just a tiny bit to give it a little bit more like flat depth. Like it's still flat, but it gives the basketball a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
And these side lines that go into the words, they straightened them out some. I think they brightened the colors a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all of them, it's not bad, like compared to what usual logos are. It's just like, again, to me, relatively forgettable because they just took a basketball and put another circle around it and then put their name on it in athletic font.
I agree. I would wear it. Nothing about it wows me. You're right. I mean, it's just a basketball.
And arguably, there's just so much more that you can do with, I mean, there's so much more that you can do with all of the cities, like logos, instead of just including like, oh, mascot and basketball. There's so much with just the name Pistons that has not been incorporated here.
They tried in the like late 90s, 2000s, and they mixed it up. Teal colors. They had a horse with flames, and then the exhaust pipes with flames coming out. It was just a little bit too much. But you're right, like they still didn't incorporate a piston.
Well, it was supposed to be like in reference to horsepower.
Yeah, no, I get it, but like piston is in your name.
Yeah,
so, like,
I know.
You would think that they'd try to incorporate the visual of a piston. I like that they just went simple retro, like with the, bringing it back, kind of like harkening back to those 80s, 90s, which was, the best years of the Pistons. In general, it is simple. I would like to see something else tried.
Generally uninteresting for like who they are as a team. And they were going in the right direction with something different, like the horse or like exhaust or something, like almost there. The concept was there. Yeah. But then they messed up the execution so bad that like the team is like, no, we're not doing that anymore. Like we're just going to do the basketball with the Detroit Pistons over it because we messed it up the one year. I think
there's a lot of people who actually really liked the late 90s, 2000s.
Me?
With the teal.
Me?
You?
I love the teal. So
Lose the teal.
It's so like Hot Wheels. I liked the teal, and that was a very 90s color. It was like that gross teal with like what was the other color they had?
It was a kind of like a reddish maroon.
It just felt it's very 90s.
Blake Griffin didn't dunk for 2 years, or wait, longer. He was a bum while he was on the Pistons.
Yeah, he just forgot how to use his feet. Hey, get it together.
Same with Andre Drummond. In general, a 5 or a 6.
Golden State Warriors.
I know that sound, what that means.
Oh, I only like parts of it. I hate this serif font. I do like the image because once you take away everything else, it's a nice like stamp.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going on, why this top is thinner than this bottom. That's irritating to me. Like, hey, center it. I know that I've been harping about getting away from the athletic font, and this is them trying to get away from the athletic font, and I hate it. Well, there's a lot of inconsistencies. Like the top is smaller and has a larger kern than the bottom does. So like you have this spread out smaller top with this together.
W and the A right there.
They're like not lined up correctly.
Super
that needs a manual lineup because probably they put it on a path and then it didn't line up. Yeah, it is weird. Like and the R's are kind of off too. I like the monochromaticness of it. Like it's very simple. Yeah. I don't want anything else in the logo. All I have to say is that I just hate the font.
Font snob.
I'm not a font snob. It just doesn't go with it. Okay, would you wear it?
Yes. I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, I'd give it like a 7 or an 8. It's still like pretty high for me because the graphic is very relaxed and I appreciate that. The Houston Rockets.
The Houston Rockets.
Make me want to die inside. Simple. Like it, but is this a horror movie or are we going to watch basketball?
The flames definitely like don't come across as flames. It's
they
like
look like
blood.
Yes, they look like in horror movies when people write with blood on the wall. That's what this is. And like, I get it because athletics are supposed to be intimidating.
I actually love everything else about it.
Yeah, no, I do like it. I like the what they were trying to do is very different and interesting.
Yeah.
I have to say I hate that they used the same R. I want to like it. I really do want to like it. I just think it's too like, and maybe it's the red, because if it was in any other color, I wouldn't associate it with like blood and murder.
Yeah. They made the drippings a little bit more flamey, and maybe just had like a second, like a yellowish orange signifying flames, then maybe it would read a little bit better.
I just have a lot of questions, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I just see a lot of things other than I feel like what I'm supposed to see. And if you want to make the R, like, I get it. Like, I think this is supposed to be like the rocket with the point and everything. Yeah. Like, you know, more reminiscent of Star Trek. It's just, hey, make it make sense. Would you wear it? I would wear it. You wouldn't wear it. But what would you rate it?
6, 7.
I would
not higher than a 6.
I would maybe go a little bit lower even, because I just don't get it. Like, if you were on the street, you just wouldn't be able to recognize what it is. Indiana Pacers.
I actually really like the letters.
I love the melting basketball situation. Like, I love these rounded edges that go out. I think this could have been like, I think it even could have been a little bit more exaggerated and like pulled.
I've actually like never thought much of the Pacers logo. This looks okay to me. Like I said, I actually really like the font.
Everyone is so close to the minimalist feel, but they always like up with one color. If they would have just taken this gray, I know that it wouldn't have given this outline, but then maybe invert it, like do a blue outline with a gray and then have the yellow ball. So close to being satisfying. So overall, love the ball situation, love the font. It like this S and this R still feel very athletic, but it's very modern.
Yeah.
So far, this is my favorite one. I would wear it. I would definitely wear it too if it was just the P.
I would wear it as well. I would give it like a 7 or an 8.
I'd give it an 8. LA Clippers. I like this. I like the basketball with the C around the LA.
I actually like the LAC.
Yeah.
I think it sits weird in the basketball.
Like, why couldn't they have just left it as LAC? Like, that's it. Just kept the typography as LAC. Someone worked so hard on that typography to get it to fit in there like that, and then they just go in and like totally ruin it. I hate the little swoopy things, the lines. I usually like things like that, but I hate it on this.
I think like the size of that Clippers font underneath is just so big that it just like takes away from how nice that LAC is.
And I also like this little white that they tried to add in on these Clippers. Just why? Just why?
Those little highlights.
Like, they tried to bevel it. It feels like the most unincorporated logo that we've seen yet. So I have a legit theory. I think a new age intern made the LAC, and then the art director said, no, that can't be the whole logo because you're too young and that's not what we want. And then they made him put it in a basketball, and then someone else came along and said, well, it needs something else, and then they put lines in it, and then the art director decided that they were going to put the huge Clippers underneath it, and they just slowly degraded a beautiful piece that could have stood alone because egos got in the way.
Because that's how we've always done it, got in the way.
Anyways, it doesn't matter, but that's what I feel. I would wear the LAC thanks to the theory of the intern that made it. If an intern made it, you did a great job. And for this entire logo, I'd give it a 2 because I'm very tired of how disjointed this looks. Like we just cut up a car and put it together and it barely runs.
I'd give it a 3. Los Angeles Lakers.
I have strong feelings about this one as well.
LeBron James. It's very classic to what their logo has always been, which I in general like.
Well, I don't like that they don't go around the ball. Have them on the ball all the way, or don't have them at all.
I'm not a fan.
I know it's supposed to be speedy.
Yeah.
But it looks like drippings again. I think it should be actually pointed at the end. I think that's the problem, is that they rounded it out. And like maybe if it was pointed, it would give more of the speed effect other than like the drip effect. I would honestly like not hate it. Like I really like the actual font, and I love that the K goes into the E.
I like the Los Angeles font.
Yeah, and they did a little bit here too, but they didn't go crazy with it. Like the A goes across. It's classic. I like purple and orange together. Mm-hmm. I think it's just like an interesting contrast, so I don't hate it.
You're talking about an iconic brand here. They're just going to keep it the same. It's worked for them. Yeah, I wouldn't wear it personally.
Rating?
5.
Memphis Grizzlies. I don't hate this. I really don't.
I like it a lot.
I still think it's a little high school feeling.
I think the logo is simple and like cool enough that we like it. But I know what you're saying is kind of another one of those like could be a cut and paste. This could be on any team. In general, I really like color on the eyes. I like the color on the head, like the definition with the darker blue. I like it, and then I actually really like the font.
I was gonna say that I really like the font too. It's a great modern take on an athletic font because it doesn't scream athletic, but you put this little line in here that's kind of reminiscent of neon or some sort of like showy font. Really, really love blocks of font that line up at the end. I'm very happy with this. Like, I don't have much to say other than it's just a little generic. And I would wear this font like across my chest.
If it were just based on the logo, I would be at like a 7, but the font brings it up to like an 8 or a 9 for me.
Okay, so that was really long and we have a lot to say all the time. So I'm going to make a part 2 after this one. Do you have any parting words?
Am I invited back
yes.
for part 2?
Yeah, you can come back for part 2. And then eventually we can do a tier list. Maybe we'll like tier list the NFL ones. So thanks for watching. We'll make a part 2. You can see all of my socials in the following animation. Subscribe because it really helps me. Say bye.
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 Bye, Felicia.
Meredith, you've slept with so many men, you're starting to look like one. Boom, roasted.
Leave the office out of this.
Unforgivable.